Hello, beautiful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know some people are coming on the live. Let's go on Facebook and tag some folks. Okay, let me see. By the way, if you guys hear music in the background, I do not own the rights to the music at all. I welcome you guys to Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram shortly. I need to tag some people. Tell me how, I see there's some people viewing. Tell me how the visuals, how are the visuals? Can you guys see me okay? Uh, I'm tagging people in the thing here. Are the visuals clear? Can you guys see me fine? Because it looks like distorted on when I go on my Facebook page. But again, it could be because I don't know. Okay. Hi, Josette. How are you? Josette, is the visual clear or is it sticking? Hi, Mama Star. Tell me, is the visuals clear or is it sticking? I want to know if I need to switch to network before I get deep into the conversation. I don't want to get deep into the conversation and have to switch to network mid process. So I want to know, can you see me okay? Is the visual sticking? Is it in motion all right? Let me know. Bria, is it sticking or okay? Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. I'm glad you guys let me know that it's clear. Okay. So let me set up my Instagram to get Instagram in motion because I didn't open them up as yet. I wanted to make sure that we were good before I got into. I actually don't know how to. Okay. There we go. So here we go, you guys. Setting up Instagram. Instagram is set up. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Beautiful people. So, as you guys know, this is the podcast, the Era Collective podcast. And I thank you all for joining me tonight and coming in today. So, we are talking about sex and spirituality. But before I get into that, for those of you that are on YouTube or even on Facebook, please heart, share, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and settle in nicely. I actually am having my god sister get on with me tonight too. Let me see where she at. Hold up. Yes. So I actually have a guest tonight, so it's going to be really nice. I'm very, very, very excited because we're going to have a guest. I think it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I know there's going to be it's already an interesting topic: sex and spirituality. And what motivated this, number one, is that I know that retrograde made a lot of people hot and bothered, got a lot of people excited and in their feelings, whether, you know, you know, all that good stuff. You already know, I don't need to fill in the blanks for you. You know where you were and how you were feeling. However, um, I was like, why not do a juicy topic and an exciting topic, but also an informative topic at the same time? So, for those of you that are viewing, if you happen to see me look away from the camera, my laptop is here in front of me. And so you may see me glance and address comments or questions that may be in the comment box. I'm also waiting for, let me see where my sister is, see what she got going on. Be on shortly. But anyway, we're going to be talking about sex and spirituality. You see, I posed the question of whether or not they are connected, are they separated? People have various views on that. I think everyone are spiritual. Everyone is a spirit. So I'm not alienating quote unquote spiritual people or non-religious people. I'm including everybody because sex is energy. Sex is energy. So we'll start there. Sex is energy. And so um I want to know from you guys in the comments, number one, do you all feel that sex and spirit or sex and spirituality are connected, or do you feel they're separate? And if so, give a reason. Your reasonings may align with mine, and also viewpoints of my sister's uh, viewpoint as well. She'll be getting on shortly. So I'm stalling because I don't want to get too deep into the topic. So in the midst of me waiting, I'm going to pour my good. Where this wine come from? Australia. Australian wine that someone bought for me. Yep. So pour your wine. Yes. Yeah, she's coming on shortly. So pour your wine, get yourself situated, build a spliff, have your moment, drink a cup of tea. I'm gonna light an incense. 1 second. I gotta get up, y'all. Wonderful. Oh, I like the responses so far already. We're gonna light an incense. I need to light my lamp here as well. Again, I do not own the rights to the music. So Facebook, please don't delete my, or YouTube, don't delete my post. So I do not own the rights to the music. I don't even know if you guys can hear the music in the background because I have it set up for noise cancellation. So you shouldn't hear much other than me. Okay, give me a second. I'm lighting my lamp here. I gotta have light. Everything that we do, I believe that spiritually, everything that you do, you want to do with some type of light. Candle, you can use your mood lights, you know. Yes, I have light on above me, of course, but I like my lamps and my candles and things. So let me see here. Thank you guys for coming in again. I am here. I have not left. I'm right here. I am getting ready to burn my sage stick and get into it with you guys. All right. Wonderful. How was you guys' day today? How was you guys' day today? I had a beautiful day. I had a beautiful week. I'm looking forward to an even better week and weekend. Okay. Checking in again with Neek. See where my sister is. Okay. She said give her a little minute. So, like I was saying, this topic came about because one, the retrograde had a lot of people feeling a lot of energy. And you may have been in a very romantic mood. You could have been in a very passionate mood. You could have been in a very nesting kind of a vibe, wanting to be with a significant other. All of that is possible. And you could have just been wanting to be downright nasty. That's possible too. We're not going to filter anything. I like to be honest and real and plain and direct. So this is not your live for an unmature audience. This is a live for a mature audience. This is a podcast for a mature audience because we're going to get into some interesting perspectives. Because I took a survey, talking to different people about the topic and just seeing different things they would like to hear and discussed in the topic live, and so I'm excited. Let me see here. I need to get a link. And so I thought the different perspectives that were presented to me were quite amazing. Why not share the goodness? So, and every day, I'm going to do a hot topic. Every once is going to be a hot topic, okay? And so when we get into Hot Topic Wednesday, it will be topics that may be a little uncomfortable for some and very comfortable for others. Also, it should be thought provoking. The goal is to definitely challenge your thoughts, your viewpoints, your perspectives on certain matters at hand, And so that's the true goal and essence of it all on Wild Out Wednesdays, okay? It's wild because it's something that you weren't expecting. It's wild because it may be a topic that you were not expecting to hear, but I assure you, it's a topic that you can learn from. I'm not just throwing some, what do you call it? I'm not just throwing out different things just to give views, but I also want to educate and I want to challenge the mind. Okay. Yes, get deep, get it all up in our guts. I love it. You're so funny. I plan on it. And Shanique, oh, my sister that is coming on with me tonight, she don't play. She don't play. And she's oftentimes on my ass to make sure that I'm producing content and that I'm thorough and I present it well and that it is definitely something worthwhile. And so she's my secret reinforcer. But you guys are going to meet her tonight. I'm just very excited. I'm not going to lie. And I'm trying to stall because I don't want to get too deep without Neek being present. But I'm going to continue to build the ride as we go up the ladder. She's getting in. So sex and spirituality. Number one, in my perspective, this is my perspective, I believe they are connected. And as you saw from the comments shared already, that yes, they are very much so connected. And so when we get into the connectivity of spirituality, number one, we got to deal with the carnal aspect first. Shout out to Prince William. Dealing with the carnal aspect of sex and the connections of sex. Why do people have sex? Number one, you get horny. You feel these feelings, you get to a certain age of maturity, and you start to feel certain things. Your spirit starts to move. You start to feel these things. You may be, in your teenage years. Everyone experiences puberty and these changes in the body and these feelings at different stages in their life. You understand? But typically earlier on, before your higher teens and your adulthood, you start to feel these feelings in your body. Some of us were blessed enough to come from homes where our parents talked about the birds and the bees, and then some of us came from environments where we did not get, the lesson of the birds and bees. And then some of us come from environments where we were not handled the best when it comes to love, not shown love in a healthiest manner, not receiving love in a healthiest manner, all of these things. And so carnal aspects still. The next aspect is once you get past these feelings and identifying, okay, there's something going on in my body. I feel this heat. I feel these things, all of that. Something is shifting in me. And I want to present a level of duality in everything that I speak about tonight. So please challenge me and ask questions in the comments. But dealing with the duality of these feelings in the body and getting into the state of now tapping into your hormones. We live in a reality where some people did not have the choice of being able to explore and develop and cultivate these feelings and understand these feelings. Some people were taken advantage of and abused. you know. And Neek is actually getting on. I'm about to add my sister in the live. Hey, Neek.
Hello, hello, hello.
Neek is in the live all year. I love it. And so, some people that I was speaking about duality and polarity when we talk about, getting past the feelings in the bodies and reaching a state of maturity. We get into the carnal aspects of sex. And like I was saying, some people have the privilege of making a choice of when they want to explore further within their sexual being and essence. And then some people, unfortunately, live in a reality where they were taken advantage of and misused and mishandled when it comes to that. And then we go into the element of making children. A lot of us come from, communities and environments where we were taught that, we must have children, we must procreate, we must, multiply, we must build our family, we must do these things. And so some people get into the practice of limiting themselves to sexual activity for the focus of just having sex to make children, or having sex just because I'm horny or I feel these feelings and don't know where to place it. And then we get into the element of the carnal side of just attraction. You feel attracted to someone, you feel this pull to someone, you feel this connection to someone. Sometimes the connection is mutual, sometimes the connection is not mutual, but you feel this attraction. And sometimes we like to explore that and see what that's like. And so now we get into the element of the spiritual side of it. How these things tied, connected, how they connected. When we deal with the healthier aspect of sex, there's a negative and it's a positive. When we deal with the healthier aspect of these points, you meet someone, you connect with someone. Ah, that's fine. We can have that. You meet with someone and you connect with someone. And oftentimes, the attractions that we build or the attractions that we have stem from a place. Maybe you like the person's physique. Maybe you like the person's mannerisms. Maybe you like the person and how they dress. Maybe you like the person and how they present themselves, how they gesture you. You understand, or just from watching the physical attraction. And then sometimes there's just this as we call it, the natural essence. The natural essence. You smell their fragrance. Someone walks past you, I'm like, ooh, it's something about them. There's something that is encoded in our essence that draws us to people. All of us are all naturally connected, tying into the conversation of vibration and frequency. And depending upon where you are within yourself, dealing with sex and how you love yourself, how you feeling within yourself. Do you love yourself? Starting there, do I love myself? Do I like how I look when I look in the mirror? Do I feel good? Do I think I look good? Do I think I'm sexy? Do I think I'm the shit? Do I think that I can go out and get whatever I want? I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but do you feel these things about yourself? Or do you feel self loathing? Do you feel low? Do you feel unworthy? These things are important to identify because when we start to connect with people, our connections build according to where we are mentally. If I feel confident, I will maybe attract a confident person into my life. If I don't feel so confident in myself, I may attract someone in my life that does not handle me well. These are all possibilities within, the carnal aspect before we even get into the spiritual aspect, but it's natural because it starts with the mind. Someone had mentioned, it says, how does sex control? They said, how does, no, what she say? Sex controls our mind. Let me see. Oh, how sex control our brain. Yes, that starts with the feeling in the home base. Let me tell you why. Because sometimes, you feel these feelings and you start to explore. And in your exploration, you may come across something that you enjoy, that makes you feel good, that gives you an energy, it feeds this vibration or this hunger or this desire or this what's the word that I'm looking for? It feeds what you're seeking. You called it into you manifested it through your thoughts, to your urges, to your intentions, to your energy. You called it to you. Now, sometimes we can get unbalanced with that, just like a drug, just like with a food, just like with some with drugs, we can get to a point where we crave it too much, and it starts to distract us. It starts to pull us away. It starts to create an imbalance where we're not able to focus on important things in our life or in our goings because we're focused on getting the D or getting the P or whatever you're looking for. Anything you want to say, Meek? I know I got it and I'm just rambling. Say something to the people.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. I hope everyone is filled with love and with joy. And I hope as we cover this topic, everyone is coming in with an open mind. Because we live in a society now where sex is so readily available. We're given sex in so many forms of media, from our music to our TV shows to even now children's shows. So sex is readily available without the thought or the knowledge of the power that lies within sex. It's so taboo, even though sex is readily available, to actually have a real conversation about the power of sex or what sex was intended for. Different people, different schools of thought, as you said, would have different ideologies that they attach to what is the purpose of sex. But sex is one of the most vital connections that we as human beings have. It's that gives us the ability to bring life into the world. It's the connection to God itself. It's the unification in traditional points, because now everyone is practicing many different types of sex because of different sexualities. But in theory, it was supposed to represent the unification of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now, when we come to
Absolutely.
understand that, okay, we have this thing, we have this tool to not only bring life into this world, but to experience ultimate pleasure. When you have sex, you produce oxytocin. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Don't judge me. I'm not the best at that. But it actually makes you feel happier in theory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now we have to think about it, as you said, it's a drug. We can become so addicted to that feeling, that momentary ecstasy that
Gratification,
we feel
ecstasy. Mm-hmm.
when we have sex, that we forget that this is a powerful tool to bring life into this world. And we're not just talking about the birth of a child. It could be the birth of an idea. It could be the birth of a new way of life. It could be the birth of a new reality for yourself. You can use
Yes.
sex to
Yes.
quantum leap.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
So when we understand the power that lies in sex, no matter how great it feels, everybody that knows me knows the type of person that I am in my ideology when it comes to sex. But you have to understand that this is a power that you was given by the Almighty Creator. So sex and spirituality can never be separated. Once you start to
Absolutely.
bring life into the world and manufacture life through the essence of combining one's energies, you can't run away from saying that this is just a casual liaison. We always say,
Mm-hmm.
well, so carnally, so spiritually, and that does not stop when it comes to sex.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you made a powerful point. And I want to get into this now because two elements that are very pivotal in what you said was number one, the connection to divine masculine and divine feminine. Okay. A lot of people will take that statement and some people will keep it very linear and look at it as just a heterosexual thing.
And
And
that's not
that's
what I'm
totally
referring to.
understandable. But when we get into connectivity and realizing that there are persons that operate more in their divine masculine and some people that operate in their divine feminine, and this could work for same gender loving people, of whether it be male, female, male, male, woman to female, and sometimes a collective of both, because we live in that day and age. And so when we get into now the making of a baby, and we tap into the spiritual element of it, okay? And we talk about creating life. As Shanique said, this is a God given power given to us to create, to form life, to shape life. And realizing that life is just not the matter of us as human beings, but life is everything that is in living and is in motion. And so it is the manifesto of an idea. It is a manifesto of a business, the home, the car, the brand that you're creating. And so when we get into creating or making a baby, making a child, when you are connected with the right individual, because we have to be clear that you can connect with someone and they may not vibrate on a frequency or vibration that is conducive for you to create or to manifest. Go ahead, Neek.
I feel that we have to understand, going back to the law of vibrations, that we all radiate at a certain frequency. So if
Yes.
I'm vibrating at a lower frequency, I made a joke the other day, because I saw a post and it said, what are you swallowing? And we're going to have an adult conversation. A lot of times when we enter into different types of sexual liaisons, we don't understand that we're taking in that person's energy into our field. So now, if I'm at a lower vibrational frequency and I'm deciding to have intimate relationships with you because we're in this cylindrical pattern of exchanging of energy,
Yes.
if my vibrations aren't high enough to maintain that frequency, what's going to happen? I'm going to get pulled down to your lower vibrational frequency. That's why sometimes when you meet somebody, you're like, yo, my life was going great before I met this person and we started having relations. And all of a sudden, my life is not going
This
as
one
smooth,
left. Yeah.
because sometimes you don't understand that you may be laying down with a succubus.
Yep. Yep. Yes. We
You
actually
could
had
be
that
laying down
conversation
with
at church.
you could be
Yes.
laying down with an incubus. So when people really understand, especially spiritually, you can't go around just, I'm not saying that, I'm not judging anyone who lives a whatever lifestyle, promiscuous lifestyle or whatever, but you can't, when you become spiritually aware, go along with the same level of ignorance, because you can't say, well, I don't know anymore, because you're opening up yourself as a portal, especially us as women, to receive a lot of variations of vibrations and frequencies. So when you decide, I'm going to lay down with this person, or I'm going to engage in sexual relationships with this person, you have to understand you are going to be carrying that person's energy with you,
Energy. Yes.
you know?
Yes. Absolutely.
And if
Absolutely.
And if that person's not at the right frequency, you're going to manifest negative things. Now, vice versa, if you meet the person that's in alignment for your higher purposes and your destiny and is at a frequency that's at yours, let's say you're vibrating at a higher level, when you use the magic and the beauty that is sex, you will find that you can manifest a different, greater reality than you could by yourself.
Hey. Hey, Neek, wait a minute. Hold on. Two things I gotta say, and yes, we're gonna get into that too. Oh, whoa. Okay. This just downloaded in my spirit when you said that, and I think I have to share this. Even for those of you that have experienced sexual trauma on any level, any shape, any form of sexual trauma, you possess the ability to transmutate that through having healthy sexual encounters. You understand?
I
And go ahead.
I would add to that, especially like if you go, I'll be very open in this forum. I'm a survivor of SA, and what helped me with transmuting that energy is doing a lot of self love, a lot of self pleasure, a lot of reconnecting with one's body to take back that power and control. So you're no longer living in the shadows of what happened. You have back that autonomy. So
Mm-hmm.
my recommendation to transmute that energy, vice rather than going to have relations with someone else, is get your energy right first through self pleasure, through self
Absolutely.
exploration, through getting through that self to get to that self. So now when you
Absolutely.
open up and I can only speak from my experience as a woman, when you open up your womb is now a healed place, because you
Mm-hmm.
usually store a lot of that energy from these traumas within your womb as a woman. So
Yep.
unless you're doing a lot of womb healing and shifting of that energy, you will find that you start to attract mates that might mimic some of those same sexual violence behaviors that you experienced through that trauma.
This is so true. And even in addition to that, when we talk about creating that life form or manifesting through sex, connecting with the right partner, and being being aligned with the right partner. Someone asks, can sex be transmuted to creative endeavors, and if so, how?
Yes.
um, Whether you are doing it through self pleasure and visualization, and or even with a mate, and you're engaging in an aligned mate, whether you talk to that mate and say, hey, I'm trying to manifest X, Y, by Z, you can have a conversation with the person, and you guys can be in an aligned mindset, aligned consciousness, so that when you reach a state of climaxing, you know that when you're climaxing, you're also in thought and in vision, and you may even verbalize what it is you're trying to obtain. Okay. Then you have option B, whereas you have a person that you have great chemistry with, great passion with, great connection with, and they may not know what you're doing. But when you're in a dominant position where you're able to give them contact, or you are exchanging bodily fluids, planting your seeds, however you do so, you understand you are in a position now that, again, same way, you are able to visualize and manifest what it is you're trying to accomplish. That is called sex magic. And then option C would be self pleasure. You understand? But understanding that the power of building to the climax is not just about intercourse and climax and getting to the climax and rushing to get there, but it's the passion, it is a thought, it is the energy of creating. You understand? Then reaching to that state of climax and focusing in on what it is you're trying to do. You understand? Nick, you would like to add to that?
Can you re-ask the question again?
The question was, can sex be transmuted into creative endeavors? And if so, how?
I would definitely say that. If you practice this thing called thribbing, which is like going, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, going to the edge, whether you do
It's
it
called edging for
solo,
men. It's called edging for men.
if you go solo, whether you go with a partner, whatever. And while you're at that moment, you stop. It sounds really intense to do, but you will get a clear vision, especially like if you're a writer or a painter and you decide to use that passion that you're feeling at that moment into your art. You might create some of the most beautiful dynamic things that you can, because we got to understand sex is a life force that is continually moving and growing and being created. So the more that you feed into it, the more that you make it clear. Like if you like Ricky said, visualization. If my goal is to move into a new house by this particular year, while I'm with my partner, I'm seeing my house. I'm walking through my door. I'm
Absolutely.
opening my kitchen fridge. I'm organizing. I'm using that moment of, as I said, that life force that is sex to create something new for myself. And if you
Absolutely.
decide to release, then when you release, you're releasing that life force into the universe. And the thing about it is to leave it alone. A lot of times when we're
Hmm.
trying to manifest things, we like to keep picking in the oven. When you release, trust that the universe is going to provide it to you. The more that you do it, the more that you have the same visualization and it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer, the more real it becomes to your mind. Your mind doesn't know the difference. Our reality
And
is
for
only shaped
males,
by our limited idea of our mind.
so true. And for males, you know that state of mind when you are like, my horns is raging all day today, and I don't know why the horns won't go down kind of vibe. That is when you get into that edging and preservation kind of mindset and motion. Arouse yourself, go there, but don't release. Focus and shift that energy into creative energy. Right, like Nick said, go into the paint, draw, dance, do a podcast, do your live, get it off your chest. You understand? But oftentimes, when we are in that, my horns are raging and they won't go down, it's oftentimes because you are in a very strong creative energy and you have a lot of power that you can work with. Because of not understanding sexual energy and its power, a lot of times us males, and even sometimes females too, but I'm not a female, so I can't say too much. But oftentimes us males will end up displacing that energy and going to F off, go trick off and go get it out. You understand? Or whatever, when it's really to be utilized elsewhere. And I had to learn that from myself too. That's a lesson I have to learn from myself as well. And it's important to have these conversations. And so another aspect too, when we get into this carnal and spiritual aspect, is too much sex good or bad? Someone had posed that question to me offline. Is too much sex good or bad? Go ahead, Nick. You gave me the finger. Go ahead.
There's periods in time where spirit will clearly tell you and show you that it's time to reserve that energy, because everything is energy, and transmute it and place it to a different focus. So is there such a thing as having too much sex? Yes. Especially when you're on a spiritual journey, not only for spiritual reasons, but like just think about it carnally. When you're having a lot of sex, you're drained. You don't have time to do anything else, to focus on anything else. If you're only focusing on sex, what are you really getting done? And there's also periods when you're going to have like a lot of sex. Maybe that's the way your magic works, because
this is true.
Different people are blessed with different magical powers. You might be a sex worker and that might be your thing. But as a spiritual person, you have to have that power of discernment to hear when spirit is saying to you, there's a time and a period of fasting. There's a time and a period of conserving your energy into self. And when you're having sex, you have to be conscientious that you are giving part of yourself to another person. And
Absolutely.
maybe that's not necessarily what you need to be doing all the time. And that's just my
It's
personal
definitely two-way. Yes, it's definitely a two-way street. A two-way street, Nick. I would definitely say that there has to be a balance. I always talk about balance in everything. And even we have an inside joke in our community is you must feed your demon at least once. You understand? And get that energy checked in and checked out. And so when we get into the element of sex and too much sex, I think, again, like Nick said, I agree. There is a time and place for everything. There are periods and times where you may need to fast. You may need to reserve your energy. You understand? Because you're seeking something. You're seeking God for something. You're seeking prayers. You need certain things to manifest. And a lot of times sharing that energy is just like telling a secret or telling your goals and dreams to someone. Sometimes you have to keep that for yourself and settle down. Also, it helps, I believe, when you do have that moment of pulling back for a little while, it helps with clearing your consciousness. It helps with clearing some energies that you may have gathered along the way. We didn't even get into soul ties yet, but we're going to get there. Some of the energies that you have gathered along the way, you may have to. We're gonna reach there. Just wait. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. You understand? And you may have to remove yourself from those things. And then, like Nick said, there are periods where the horns is raging every day, and you may need it a few times a day or a few times out the week, and that gives you that charge, that energy that you need. It may give you the inspiration that you need. It may give you that motivation that you need. All of that is possible, but there's time and place for it all. And so, yes, too much sex without balance, it can be bad. You understand? Now, too much for us varies. Too much varies for every individual. Now, we'll also say this too, and I would like to hear Nick's perspective on this. I also believe that not having sex at all could be bad. Like being a full grown adult and just not having, there are some people I know that just simply can't. God made them a special way. But I believe, this is my opinion, I feel that persons that live very long and are very active and live very active lives, even in their 70s and 60s. Like I have a great uncle my age. Like my great grandfather died at 93. You understand? Not saying that's everybody's story, but I believe that people that even are in the upper age in their senior years that are still sexually active have a more happier, well-rounded life versus those that may not, whether it's from connecting with someone else or either via self-pleasure.
I feel like
Some sexual activity needs to be in the mix.
that's a tricky subject for me. I believe in everyone knows what's best for them. That's what I want to say. Now, someone who has participated in celibacy and in just debauchery, I would say that the way your pendulums of your mood sways definitely it takes you there. So I think having a healthy, active sex life is important. I think that sex is an important component. But as I said, people have to know themselves. Some people literally can't handle having sex. It may alter their personality. It may become too much of a focus for them. I don't know why people choose to do certain things. So one must know thyself in order to know like what works for them. But I do believe a healthy sex life makes life a lot better.
Sure. I like that. Well said, Nick. Well said, well said, well said. Um, Someone posed a question. Okay, let me ask this. Oh, listen to this question. You see the question? Question: why is it that when you are on a spiritual high, your drive becomes overwhelming?
Well, because it's energy. And if your body doesn't know how to differentiate between you getting a spiritual upgrade, as I like to call it, and how like the way you express yourself, if you're a person that expresses themselves sexually, when you're getting these uploads, when you're getting these upgrades spiritually, you're going to feel a lot of sexual energy. If you're a person that is also very highly creative, like an artist, it may come across as sexual energy, but it might just be creative energy. So when you're on your spiritual journey, especially when you're going through spiritual upgrades, you'll realize that you're going to feel a lot of sexual energy.
Touche. I like that. I'm gonna be devil's advocate for a little bit, just a little bit. Well, not too much of a devil's advocate, but what I will say is
Mm-hmm.
that for persons that are typically, I think not just spiritual high, but I think it's also when you are, yes, spiritual high. When you're in the spiritual high, like when you've done a spiritual operation, preached, taught, did a whole lot of spiritual whatever, whatever. Um, there are certain, yes, there's a certain energy that comes over you. And I don't want to necessarily say I can say it may, for some, I'm gonna make it broad. For some, it may be certain energies that walk with them, no matter what plane or spectrum they come from. But also to back up what Nick is saying, that sometimes that energy is so strong, it kind of transfers over into a sexual energy. But I will also say, because operating in spirit, thank you, because I was looking for the words. Thank you. The spirit just gave me that. Operating in spirit. A lot of times, well, oftentimes when you are truly operating in spirit, it's preaching, dancing, performing, whatever your gift, your task is. You could be a healer, whatever it may be. The energy that is moving through you takes you to a place where you become of yourself. So you do have this extra, like I call it, like this Energizer Bunny energy on you. And so it can kind of make you feel like you have some extra steam to blow. And you may need to do that. But also, duality, the other side to that is, like Meek said, you probably need to use and do something creative.
Do something creative. I'm going to say do something creative. Channel that energy.
Oh Lord.
If the house has been a
Yes,
mess
I like
for
this.
10 days, clean your house. Sometimes we have to learn that not
You see
every
what the man said?
desire.
He said it's like changing from, look, he said it's like changing from mild mannered into the hawk.
Sometimes we
I
have to learn to
understand.
calm the beast. Sometimes we have to
Yes.
learn to calm the beast.
Whew. You know what, Neat,
And
though, on a
sometimes
real
that's the
note,
challenge. You know, I honestly
I was
believe
about to say that.
sometimes that's the challenge the universe is testing you with. Like, how strong have you came over your own desires to say, hey, I can feel this way, but it doesn't mean I have to act on it. I can transmute the same energy that I'm feeling and do something different. So sometimes you got
Listen,
to tame the beast.
this is
Amen,
so true.
Devante. Amen.
Say some prayers, say the rosary, say them Our Fathers, get yourself together. But no, on a real, on a serious note, though, in certain situations, there are times when you just definitely have to hold it down. As much as you want to get it off, sometimes it may be a dream, a vision, a message, or download you may need to receive, and you part just got to hold that in because you don't want to give that pure essence that just came down from Zion. Some people ain't worthy for that good godly exchange.
And I always think about it like this. Think about it like a battery, right? Sometimes when you hold it in and you charge it up and you find the right person. Now just picture this. You've been in the desert. You've been in the valleys. You've been threading for
Yes,
Jesus. But
deep
in that
down in the
time
depth.
you've been building your energy. You've been purifying yourself. You've been getting your mind together. And then because you're raising your vibration as you're reserving this energy, you're starting to attract more people who are like that.
Yeah.
And especially if you're thinking about it like, God, the next time I have this sexual encounter, let
It
it
better be
blow
worth
my
it.
mind to the next level of infinity. You know,
Listen, they
let
better
I
listen. They better be
manifest,
worth it.
let my manifestations come so quickly. Because I can manifest things, but I don't want to wait, you know? So
Listen,
you're
when
doing
Rock
this
come
and you're
knocking at the door.
reserving yourself until you find that right partner. And then you have this exchange instead of just like mindlessly giving into that first urge, that first temptation.
But what if one of the jumbie came and helped us with our work or our operation and they want to get a little action? What if,
Ricky,
one of the
Ricky,
angels of Mr. So and so or Mrs. The ladies and them, somebody may want to get a little action. I'm just playing. Y'all, I'm just fucking with y'all. Let me be real with you. Do not come out of a manifestation and let no beam, angel, Orisha, Loa, Holy Ghost be riding you and think they about to get some cutty too. Because they will try.
you know what, Ricky? You're giving some, I don't know. May the power of Christ be with you today. May he be with you.
What am I giving today, D?
I don't know. I'm going to just put the sign of the cross and pray for you.
Oh God. Listen. You see what? Look what Devontae said. He said, "Prove that spirit." Listen, my beams is on the other wall. I'm trying to, you understand? Listen, when I
But
was setting
yes,
up Dunto Dolly, when I tell you, when I was setting up why Dunto Dolly started moving, I said, "Oh, it's going to be one of them nights."
well, I'm going to just say I would like to get into the topic of soul ties. Somebody said
Let's
something
get
about
it. Go
soul
ahead, kick it
ties.
off, Nick. Kick it off. Kick it off. Kick it off.
I was no. I wanted to know what was the specific question about soul ties. Are soul
Okay.
ties?
So, two things that came with the question of soul ties, and these were offline questions that came about soul ties. The individual asked, number one, do you develop a soul tie with your partners that you become intimate with? My answer to that was generally yes. Not all, not all, not all, but for certain individuals, certain partners, and sometimes and sometimes you're not aware, but you will and can develop a soul tie. Now, how do you identify these soul ties? Not being able to, not being able to focus, always thinking about this person. Your life was one way before you met them, then you met them, and then your life started going a different way when you disconnected from them. Certain visitations you may have. Some people have dreams. Some people have a lot of variety of things happen. You understand? Also, it's like you separate from this person, but it seems like you keep coming back. You separate, but you keep coming back. You separate, but you keep coming back. And it's typically for one purpose, and it's to exchange energy. Then it go back to what it was. And so, I want you to speak before I get into how to break them. What were you going to say about soul ties, Nick?
I believe that every sexual encounter you have creates a soul tie. Now, the variation and the degree of that soul tie depends on whether or not it was a good interaction, how the person's body chemistry made your brain react, because there's actual chemical things happening in our brain when we sleep with a particular person. I'm not the one that specializes in knowing it, but I know that there is. So when you create these soul ties, and if you continue to, let's say I slept with you one time, we created a link to each other. Now I went back for a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth. Every time I'm making that tie stronger and stronger
Stronger.
and stronger because
Yes.
I'm reinforcing that bond. Now, some soul ties could be for good purposes, some soul ties can be for negative purposes. It depends on what demon or what angel you're laying with, and we all have to be aware that people are walking around with their own entities, their own spirit teams, their own things. Now, when you become more aware, I feel like you attract more spiritual people that come with things. And these soul ties become stronger because now you're not only linking yourself on a carnal level, you're linking yourself on a spiritual level.
Spiritual level.
And when you start mixing, spiritual sex
and it's on a different level too. It's on a whole nother level when you're doing it with a person that is also aware of their spiritual gifts.
So when you start creating those types of soul ties, you'll be like, oh, why can't I stop thinking about so and so? And then you look at your phone, so and so text you. Or you be like, oh, I need this person to call me, and they call you. Or you be like, I was just thinking, and the person finishes your thoughts. Now those are the soul ties where you're like, okay, we're bonded. How do you break them? There's cord cutting rituals. There's go take a bath in the sea. There's all the different
black roosters and doves too.
And there's all different types of ways to break a soul tie. But the first way is that you have to make a commitment that you're not gonna go back. Because you could do all the cord cutting, you can do all the whatever you need to, the black rooster. And if you're gonna be like that dick is sweet or that, is sweet and go right back, it just makes no sense.
Makes no sense at all. You have to have in your mind that you are ready, even with no matter what OBR you do, no matter what spell work you do, what priest you go to. If you are not ready in your mind to release that, and some soul ties are easier to break than others. There was a week when I got back in February, the love month, ironically. The week after my birthday, I did 5 different soul tie breaking works for 5 different clients. And they all were different situations and different types of work. And so I say that to say every soul tie is different. The parameters of what the bond is varies on you and that individual in which you partake in that bond with. You understand? And so the solution to resolve that varies. Sometimes it could be a bath, sometimes it can be a candle, sometimes it could be a little cord cutting work. Sometimes it requires blood to be shed, meaning sacrifice, not your blood or their blood, but blood to be shed. If we're going that deep, because some things are that deep, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it requires a little graveyard work and bury some things. Sometimes you got to be cleansed at the sea or at the river. It varies on the situation. You understand? But you have to know. This is why it's important to be wise with who you make connections with.
You took understand? The words right out of my mouth. When you're, and I'm talking to the people who are truly spiritual. I'm not talking to these people who are like, oh, I just go to church. Out here no. I'm talking about people who are really spiritually in line. Like you are living this spiritual life. You have to understand you are a light. You are a beacon. And there's going to be people who are just want to cipher from that energy. You have to be conservative with who you let into your space. And I'm talking to the woman now, into your body, because you are the essence of life. You're the thing that's going to bring all life into this world. And I keep repeating, I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about
Let's
birthing
talk
things.
about it. Yes. Yes.
So when you are
Absolutely.
a spiritual
Absolutely.
woman, you cannot just go around having random hookups. I'm sorry. You cannot go
And same
around.
thing, and let me say this too. Same thing for spiritual men too, Neek. And let me say that being a spiritual man, you could, like Neek touched on it lightly earlier, but a lot of times for a woman, because they have more portals than we do. Let's be very frank. They have more portals than we do. You understand, in the vaginal areas and the anus and the mouth and all these things is portals. And for men, you have portals too, for those of you that utilize those things. But even placing your penis in a portal, front and back, as Nick mentioned earlier, you can connect with someone that is on a lower frequency, a dark place, a depressive state, feeling real bad about themselves and about life. And you can come now and interact with that energy, whether it was for a hookup, whether it was planned, whether it was whatever the connection was and how you got there. But you can connect with that individual, and everything starts to shift in your life. You leave that from the moment you ejaculate and you leave that space, you feel the shift. You start to feel like, whoa, Lord, why did I do that? Why did I even get into this situation? That's where the start is. When you feel that, that's number one. Go take a bath, clean that off of you. Number two is you start to see the shift, that you start to manifest the very energies that they were producing and generating and projecting and vibrating on. So you must be mindful. You understand, even when we talk about, releasing semen. Semen is very precious. Although it builds up every day, semen is very precious. It's your power. It's your seed, your egg as well. And you just can't be placing that in anybody's care. And you also don't want to be wasting it, because it is a gift from the universe. It is a gift. And we have to utilize it with care. Not saying don't have fun, not saying don't enjoy yourself, but in everything have balance, and develop and pray for, and really try to master and get into discernment. Asking the universe to give you the
Discernment.
signs. Yes, asking the universe to give you the signs. And I can tell we're vibrating because the frequencies are shifting in the video. So we're going to another level, you know. But you have to ask the spirit to give you discernment to know who is the person that is safe. Let's pray for that. Who's the person that is safe for me to connect with? If I'm feeling this horniness and my horns won't go down and they're raging, Lord, allow me to make a divine connection with a person that can match my vibration, but also give some restorative energy to me, or help me to raise my vibration. You understand? And there may be situations too where your energy could be so high, and God send you to someone that needs. This happens too. An exchange where your energy can help boost them and take them higher, because that can happen too. It's a two-way street. But again, the key is asking the universe to send you and place you in a position where you are making divine connections when you are engaging sexually. The next element of the question too was, how do you protect yourself? And I already bridged into that, asking for discernment. That's one thing. The next thing is to, yes, I'm gonna go there. Protection and protection. It takes on a different precedence, actually giving your seed unprotected to someone, whether you are a woman that's releasing her bodily fluids or a man releasing his bodily fluids. It is better to preserve or keep that, or wear protection that will lighten the load of the tie, because you're not completely exchanging DNA, but you are swapping energy. But a gentleman spoke on DNA, and DNA carries essence. It carries a person's character. It carries a person's energy. It carries a person's story. It carries a person's life. You understand? And so when you start to bridge that and swap and share and exchange that, you are now, you understand, you're now taking on that load. You're now taking on that energy too. And if you're not wise and strong enough to know how to release that energy, it can have you messed up for a little while. That's a real thing. It can have you messed up for a little while, whether it's in your
Amen.
head, whether it's physically, or whether it's energetically. It can mess you up for a little while. So you have to be on your P's and Q's. You understand? And so it's important to identify someone's level. Where's the level of consciousness? I'm at a place in my life when it comes to dating and even being intimate with someone. If I can't have an intellectual, well rounded conversation with you, most likely I'm not sleeping with you because obviously our spirits and our vibration are not in alignment. That's number one, because our consciousness are not there. So that means our internal beings are not going to match well either. You understand? And so I have to have the wisdom and the discipline. As much as my horns may rage, I have to have the discipline to say, okay, I have these different options before me. But three of those options don't vibrate on my level. Now, between the two that's left, Lord, who, universe, God, spirits, Jumbi, whatever, who's the more aligned being for me in this time and in this space and in this season that I'm in? It may seem like it's too much. It may seem very unorthodox, but I will say these things definitely help to protect you because we have to pray for our protection. And protection is not just life, it's not just death, it's not, but it's also ensuring that you don't end up in places you shouldn't be or connecting with persons you shouldn't. Go ahead, Nee.
I said the greatest form of protection is being intentional. And I'm tonight I'm speaking to my women. When you're
Ashe.
talking to
Ashe.
God, be specific in what you're looking for. Even sexually, because a lot of time we talk to God about what we want in a partner, what we want in another person, and we tend to forget about the sexual part, and that's like a very big component in any relationship. I'm a little bit more conservative. I'm like, no, abstain a little bit until you truly find a person that is who you're supposed to share your energy with. And I know that way of life doesn't work for a lot of people because, as I said earlier, we live in a society where sex is so easily and readily available. You know, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, casual liaisons, like that's the new thing. But we also have to be aware as spiritual people is that we are carrying a divine power within us. We
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
afford to share that with just any and everybody. Not every and anybody deserves access to you, especially sexually. Especially, and if you just think about it
Absolutely.
like in a real realistic way, STDs are real. People these days are carrying all type of diseases, and I'm talking about spiritual diseases, demons, entities, negative forces that are working with them because they're not living a life that's vibrating high. Most people are vibrating on lower essence and keys. So you have to be intentional
Yep.
with your sex. You have to be
Yep.
intentional with who you share yourself with. You have to, and even just things
Another
like,
download just
is
came through too.
if your partner is eating
And
right,
I
like 'cause like you're going to be ingesting this person, are they taking care of their mental health? Like we got to think about like how much of ourselves we're opening up to another person when we're having sex, and stop looking at it as such a trivial thing. I think we just are too lighthearted about sex in today's society without having an understanding of the power that lies in sex.
yep.
And that's been my
And
whole
also
life.
Ashe, I agree with you. And also people, you must be mindful that when you pray and you ask the universe to help you, guide you, point you all these things in the direction that you need to go, trust me, you will be tested. So there will be a few uh, placebos and some tests in your options that rise before you
Mhm.
because the universe is going to see, okay, you prayed for this, you asked for this, you put a request out. Are you going to stick to what you just projected? And I want to see how strong you are to accomplish and overcome where you just came from in conjunction to where you're going. You got to be very mindful. Tests will come. So be very strong, because the universe is always listening. The universe is always listening. You understand? And we have to be mindful of where we see ourselves. And when we talk about intentions, as Nick was mentioning, intentions are so very important. You understand? Intentions are so very important that when you are connecting with someone on any level, especially sexually, romantically, dating, courtship, whatever, the social circles you involve yourself in, it is so important to move with intentions, because you want the universe to know that you are moving with purpose and that you are not just waking up, moving about willy nilly. Because when you show sign to the universe that you're moving about willy nilly, the test masters will come. And when the test masters come, they're going to shake you up. SU, Lake by Mekafu, Bones, all the test masters are coming to see, okay, where you at on the spectrum? Because you don't know, we got to find a place to place you. Let's find a road to put you on so that you can discover some things. You understand? And in that path of discovery is to develop wisdom. And the wisdom is to keep you from going on a certain rotation, a constant wheel that is not producing progression. So these tests have to come. And so when you move with intentions, you're saying God, universe, elements, all the divine forces that are walking with me, all the angels, all the spirits that are helping me to progress in this journey called life. This is what it is I want. This is what it is I'm seeking. And this is what it is I'm trying to get. So help me to walk that path to get there. And you have to be clear about it every day, because every day you will be tested. Every day that we wake up, we're going to be tested. It's no way bypass that. But when you are reminded of the intent and the goal that you set forth when you rose up, go ahead, Nick, you'll accomplish.
I think sex is one of the biggest tests that God has given to men. He gave us something so incredibly sweet, so incredibly delectable. But it's up to us to understand how to use it, when to use
Yes.
it. Because if, huh? Sorry, reading comments and trying to answer the question, but there's a test to see how much you're going to indulge in it. Because sex is like I said, sex is sweet. And if you let it overtake you, going back to the earlier question, it has a thing as having too much sex. It distracts you from the greater, larger purpose to it all.
Absolutely. 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 It does. And we're in a time where, everyone, I don't want to say everyone is a reach, but I would say a large percentage of us around the world, in a variety of age ranges. It's not a new age thing, not a millennial thing, because there's people that are in brackets of Generation X and all these different generations of people, before us and after us, that are exploring certain things. And so we live in a time where I will say, yes, it is dangerous if you move without intentions. And yes, it is dangerous if you move in a wild manner. But we also live in a time where it is also safe spaces. There are safe spaces in place for you to discover what it is you are seeking, what it is you like,
I agree.
what it is you wish to explore. Because I'm not going to be one to tell you, oh, there's so many different types of so many different types of expression of intimacy, that it's not always involve physical penetration. You understand? So that's one aspect. And so then you have other levels of that are explorative or kinks or whatever, explorative intimacy or whatever. And there's different people that fall in those rings or in those brackets, and there's some people that don't know where they fall. And so I'm encouraging you, in a safe and healthy manner, explore yourself in a safe and healthy manner, and find where you belong, and express that in a healthy and safe, balanced manner. Go ahead, Neat.
I agree with everything you said. And I really believe that you really have to know thyself. If you know you're a person that lacks self control And there is safe spaces for you to try and of the traps that could be before you. Because sometimes we're like, yes, explore these things, try these things, do these things, because they seem like something that you should know about thyself. But if you know thyself and you know that you cannot control certain things, or you have like issues with control, be mindful with sex. I always say sex is a very slippery slope. If one is not aware of oneself, if one is not at a keel stage within their lives, it can take over your life. So enjoy yourself, be safe, but use that power of that discernment, use that intentionality, and make sure that you truly know yourself.
Mm-hmm. 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 I agree. Um, Prince asked, he said, what's a way to start the discipline on being intentional? Hmm. Well, number one, when we get into knowing thyself, um, identify a few things about yourself. Number one, this doesn't require you necessarily to do it with a partner. But when we get into identifying certain things about ourselves, you may watch a little video on what platforms. That's number one. And then number two is when you think about love, when you think about intimacy, when you think about sex, when you think about romance, when you think about sharing space, sacred space, with vulnerable space with another person, identify what that looks like for you. Think about it. Some people choose, and some people have multiple sectors, and that is okay too. Some people have different sides. Some people have a wife or a husband that they want to be romantic and have roses and flowers and sensual sex with. And they may have another side with them that they choose to share their bedroom in certain times and spaces. And there's some people that say, okay, we have this time together, but in this particular space and energy, I operate this way. And so these are things you have to identify. When I think about sex and love and romance and exchanging energy, think about what are the different parts of you that you want served and pleasured, and what parts of you you would like to experience. What parts of you would you like to share? Are you a person that is a submissive being? Are you a person that is a dominant being? Are you a person that falls somewhere in between? You can be either or. Okay. And then when you can identify these things, go ahead, Neat.
No, because it's a long thought. Go ahead.
Okay. When you can identify those things clearly, you start to project that to the universe, meaning you are seeking out partners, individual or individuals, because some people like plural. So I'm going to cover everybody. You seek an individual or individuals that fall within the bracket of what it is you're seeking. If it's not an individual or individuals, you find spaces that cater to that particular exploration or experience. And you take baby steps, in the words of Prince. Take baby steps until you feel grounded and confident. But this is how you start to discover where you are. Don't allow anyone to pressure you. Don't allow anyone to make you feel uncomfortable. Don't allow anyone to force you into something that you don't like. And the moment you enter a space where you will find yourself exploring, and you get to a point where, okay, this is not working for me, I feel uncomfortable, I don't like it, be okay with retrieving and retracting yourself and pulling yourself out of that space because you're discovering, and it's okay. You can discover something and experience it and say, okay, I don't like this. You understand? And it's okay. But at least you're being conscious and aware of what you're doing and why you're doing. Those are important. What were you going to say, Nick?
I was going to say exactly what you just ended with. The way to start the discipline of being intentional is being mindful. Because a lot of times, if you're not even aware that you're just going with the flow, you would just end up in whatever land that you are in. Now, if I'm going to say, and this is just in general, not even just with sexuality, like I want to be more intentional with how I live my life. I need to, one, be present in the moment. be present and aware in the moment, so that when you're saying like, okay, am I gonna hook up with this person because I truly want to hook up with this person, or am I just bored? Because a lot of times, we get into things because we're just bored. So you just have to start being more aware and more mindful of the things that's going on in your life, the reasons that you're doing things. You have to be more mindful of the way you speak to yourself, the way that you set the tone for things. And that's when you'll realize that you'll start attracting things that are on that vibration of your intentionality. So when you take these like moments to be present, aware, and mindful, it creates a system for the universe to align you with the things that you're calling into. So, like Baba Ricky said, be clear on what you want, be mindful, be present, and be aware.
Mm-hmm. I like this, Devontae. You said also never comparing your value to another. You got to allow your journey to be yours, boldly and intentionally. Very important. Very, very, very important. When you walk with a certain level of confidence and knowingness of yourself, you may not know, you don't even have to know everything that you're into just yet, but you are confident in yourself. I love myself. I walk into a room and I don't give a damn about what anybody has to say about how I look, how I dress, how I show up. You understand? And I know that I will not be violated or taken to a space or a realm or done or things being done that I don't agree with or I'm not comfortable with. That is confidence and that is a value. Having value to yourself, knowing that no one is able to degrade you and make you feel less than who you are as a king, as a queen, or somewhere in between. Do you understand? And then and then he says, you got to allow your journey to be yours. I can't live your life for you. Nick can't live your life for your mother, your father, your grandparents, your children, your sister, your brother, your cousin. Can't live your life for you. And a lot of times, sex is so powerful that it has also been used to cripple us. Love, sex, taboo. These are taboo topics that we're so afraid sometimes to explore. We're so afraid to experience. We're so afraid to discover. We're so afraid to even say, this is who I am. And accept it with love to ourselves. And so when we get to that place, boldly, and boldly does not mean every room you got to vocalize, oh, I'm a BDSM, or oh, I'm a dom, or oh, I'm a top, I'm a bottom, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this. You don't have to be bold and do that. But you walk with a certain level of knowingness and presence and confidence. You understand? And intentionally moving, as Devontae is saying, moving with intentionality, meaning that when I walk in, I know that when I left my house, I left my house in mind of a certain experience and a certain exchange of energy. And I set out to receive that. I left my home with an intent to share a certain energy, or I set my space to receive a certain energy and exchange a certain energy, whether the person is coming to you or you're going to a place, whatever. But that's number one. And then when you are in the process and the motion of now, and you start to see that certain pieces of the puzzle are not aligning, they don't fit, and you see the outcome is not going to yield what it is that you are seeking, change the narrative. Dismiss it, leave. Dismiss it from your place, so you leave and go where you need to go. You understand? Or let your intentions be so strong that when you reach where you're going, or when the person comes to you now, everything is in alignment because the vibration was set perfectly. You visualize that thing, you thought about that thing, you know what it feels like, you know what it tastes like. You can taste it on your lips. You can taste the sweetness on your lips. You can feel the grip on you. You can feel the touch and the caress. You understand these things have been set in motion now. And the universe will respond. Now, when you are in the moment of being tested, for those of us on the dating apps and on Facebook Love or Facebook dating or whatever it's called, you're going to be tested. You set the intent. You got up. You set the intent. This is what you want to do tonight. God, yes, I'm going to get me some tonight. You own and pop it. You understand? And then First person, don't work out. Don't get pissed off and frustrated and forget the intent that you started with. That's the test. First person didn't work out. Don't lower yourself and lower your intent and say, I'm just going to settle for a quick fuck or settle for this bogus energy because this is what I want. No. Stick to the intention of what you said to receive, that you want the universe to respond on. It may be option 3 or 4. It may be conversation 3 or 4. It may be conversation number 2. And it may even be conversation number 1. But stick to the intention that you are moving with and trust that the universe will respond. Go ahead, Neek.
I think the key to what Devontae said that really got me was you got to allow your journey to be yours. With sex, especially when you start dealing with sex and spirituality, you have to learn yourself. You can have all these liaisons, all these encounters, all these stuff, and it would be meaningless if you don't understand why you're like, if I'm into the BDS community and I'm into certain things and I have no idea why I'm into it, it makes no sense to me to have these encounters, at least for me. I like to understand why I'm doing the things I'm doing. Like I said, in everything I do, I like to be intentional. So when you're going along this journey of figuring out sex, figuring out spirituality, don't let anybody tell you how your journey is supposed to be shaped, or how you're supposed to walk this walk, or how you're supposed to be spiritual and sexual. Like in our faith, this would probably be like very taboo. Like, why are you having these conversations? Especially like in the West Indian culture, why are you having these conversations in public?
We're not talking about sex. Them thing is private in your room.
Private thoughts. So when you do these things, you have to start saying, like, we have a society where sex is so readily available and so open, and there's so much test and temptations and no one is still willing to have a conversation about sex.
You see, Devontae?
I know they will.
Listen, Devontae.
That is fine.
Devontae, I'll probably already got banned from the churches and them already by the time tomorrow morning when they see this live. I'll probably banned from New York,
That is fine, because guess what?
From New York.
Sex is something that everyone is having.
The
youths are having it. The older people are having it, and we're not having conversations about it. We're not creating a safe space for people to explore and go along these journeys. And this is what I agree with. No. The journey has to be yours. You have to know yourself, especially when you're a spiritual being and you're now saying, okay, I'm going to open myself on this other level and on this other thesis of existence. You have to understand yourself before going forward. And as Devon said, do it boldly and intentionally. What we're doing right now, having this conversation, this is boldly and intentionally. We are intentionally trying to edify people on the connection of spirituality and sexuality, even though we know there might be negative ramifications for having this conversation. But that's fine, because like I said, everyone is doing it. So the conversation is necessary.
Yes, this is good. This is good, Miss Gardner. I like this. And she's a part of our community too. She said, I agree, Neek, sex is not being talked about in a safe space. And guess what? Let me tell you something. People, and this is something that I was posted today. What are you going to do about it? And I'm not a born Baptist. I'm not even Trinity. There's a difference at the island. So with that being said, I don't mind being the renegade and taking the initiative. Number one, because I will fight for my youth. I will fight for my community. And this is not just the Baptist community. This is the Voodoo community. This is the Orisha community. This is the metaphysical community. This is the Black community. This is the West Indian community. And I will fight to educate and break the barriers and be the taboo. Because the reality is, because it's not being talked about in safe spaces, and there are not conversations being held, it has created a paradigm of people being violated and mistreated sexually. It has created a paradigm of people being shamed sexually. It has created a paradigm of people producing children in unbalanced, unkept households, even within our own communities. It's broken.
So for me, this is like a societal thing, much greater than our little niche community. I'm talking about as a society, we have so much sex from TV shows to songs to whatever, but we're still very
The cartoons.
uncomfortable. We're still very uncomfortable talking about sex in a real way. If I tell you I have certain kinks, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy. But the thing about it is, people are never given that opportunity, especially when you're a person of color, to explore things that you may or may not be into. And when you start mixing spirituality, and I'm not even going to say spirituality, when you start mixing religion is the one that oppresses sexuality. Religion is the thing that says that having sexual desires, urges, all these things are wrong. So now you're feeling like you must be shamed for having natural urges. So we need to have these conversations so that people can know, like, okay, if this is happening to me, this is not right because I don't feel right. You know? And that's why we have so many things happening within our communities, because we don't have these conversations. And then these people that may have a little bit of knowledge, they use it to what? Hold it over people who don't.
Yep, absolutely. That is the truth. That is the truth. And it needs to be talked about because I personally would like to see progression in the Black community at large. I would like to see progression in the LGBTQA, all the letters, all the alphabets. I belong in that bisexual category. You understand all the communities. When we talk about the Black community at large, near, far, Africa, the continent, the diaspora, there's been a brokenness that has been within us for a very long time. You understand, and sex has been manipulated and twisted and misused for a very long time, and it's not been addressed. And the only way that we can truly heal from it is by taking back our power. And you take back your power by stepping into confidence of who you are. You take back your power by knowing the power of sex, knowing the power of your poom poom, knowing the power of your toti. You understand? Knowing the power of it and not misusing it. Knowing that you have a choice in who you choose to be intimate with. You have a choice into who you choose to exchange energy with. You are not restricted by cultural confines. You're not restricted by your religious confines. You're not restricted by your racial confines. You're not restricted by any of that. And we have to step into that truth. You understand? Even the age things, even for us as Black people, it's been taboo to see relationships where there's been large age gaps because we think about molestation or, oh, this person was pressured or somebody got daddy or mommy issues. And there's genuinely some people that are truly in love that have large age gaps, and it's natural. But we have to, again, know ourselves. These are taboo conversations. And the reason being is because a lot of us, when we talk about being descendants of the diaspora. Let me start in Africa. Let me start there. I got to give you a quick history because I wouldn't be a teacher if I didn't. You have situations where men had multiple wives, had monarchs that had queens, multiple queens, and concubines. And so when we saw the dynamic of what love and sex and relationship looked like, it was more open and less limited. That's number one. Then we shifted into the diaspora, the slave trade, and we go through the abuse of breeding, inbreeding. We go through the abuse of rape. We go through the abuse of homes being separated. And now that trauma is embedded in our DNAs, where now we reach to the islands and we reach to the Americas, where now Papa is not home, Grandpa is not at home, and Mama is fending for herself. Or she has this man, that man, or we see Daddy having wife and Mama at home, but still got this woman, that woman, that woman. Not saying any of those things are bad, but it's imbalanced because the element of love is missing. The element of true love, meaning I will love you authentically for who you are and where you are. I cannot judge you for the sexual desires and feelings and cravings that you have. I either can rock with it or I can't. You understand? And so then we now get into this time and this space and this era now where generational curses are being broken. And people are saying, okay, I'm poly, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I'm plural, or I want this. And you have women with 2 husbands and men with 3 partners, whatever it may be. And it is not a wrong thing. It's not a bad thing. If you choose to be monogamous, wonderful. Be genuine and authentic in your monogamous. If you choose to be plural, be genuine and authentic in your plural relationship. We have to get to the core of love here. And a lot of times, persons that don't love themselves, individuals that don't love themselves, tend to settle for situations and relationships or situationships that are not the best for them. And then you have people that were abused in love. And so they end up sharing the abuse and exchanging the abuse in their love because they were not shown something better or they don't know better. And so the work in the core of all that we shared tonight is to know thyself. Get in tune with your inner being because the sexual energy that you feel, the sexual desires that you feel start with you. And we're not in a limited time or limited space where we cannot be authentically ourselves. We're not living in that day anymore. So I don't care if you grow up spiritual Baptist, I don't care if you grow up Muslim, Jewish, Christian, atheist, conservative, Pentecostal, holiness, whatever it may be. Sex is important because we also see the side of where we see our grandparents and our parents sometimes have failed relationships or miserable marriages or marriages and relationships in turmoil or broken homes because there's no healthy sexual exchange. There's no healthy love being exchanged. And so let's get to the core of understanding where we are within loving ourselves and loving our brothers and our sisters and being raw and honest and transparent when we're dating. Versus when you date somebody and you know you're into kinks, and you know you like a little chain and a little whip, don't be shamed to tell so-and-so you like a little chain and a little whip and a little paddle every now and again. If you are someone that is interested in poly or same gender loving, do not limit the person that you are courting or trying to get to know. Do not shut them out by not being authentic and genuine with yourself and where you are, because everyone deserves an option. Everyone deserves a choice to choose to be in whatever they're choosing to be in. And you don't want to be unfair to a person and mislead them. And you don't want to be unfair to yourself and mislead yourself and set yourself up for misery or dissatisfaction or relationship or life of turmoil because you are restricted from expressing certain parts of yourself. Whether it's dressing sexy, whether it's dressing provocative, if that's that's your prerogative, or if it's exchanging and having certain experiences with your mate, and being forward and honest about these things. A lot of times we don't talk about it because we were taught to be shamed. It's not right. It's a bad thing. Oh, you have some wild spirit on you or some Jezebel spirit on you or some demon is riding you because you are not traditional in this sense. But when we get into traditionalism in the ancient days, our ancestors back in Egypt and in Africa were quite free-flowing when it comes to love. And they weren't limited. We understand that every person in our life serves a purpose. You may have one experience where this person teaches you and builds you and helps you to explore. You may have someone else that pushes you and advances you. You may have someone else that nurtures you and loves you, whatever it is. But you have to know what it is you want and what it is you're seeking. Because when you don't know, as we all have shared already, you'll be on this wheel. And I don't want you all to be on the wheel. I don't want us to live in this continuous trauma. I don't want us to live in this continuous restriction of not knowing ourselves and expressing and exploring ourselves. I don't want to live in that space. I don't want you all to live in that space because we live in a time, God is love. We live in a time where we are aware. We have information accessible at our very fingertips. You understand? And so it's your choice and it's your responsibility to live a healthy life. It is yours to it's your responsibility to live a healthy sexual life, whatever that may be, whether you be a conservative or an explorative person, or you are a lover of love, whatever it may be for you. But it's important to know where you stand. And that's where I want to conclude. Nick, what are your last words you want to get to the people as we wrap up this wonderful podcast? And give me some feedback. A lot of people did not comment tonight. Let me know that you enjoy the podcast. If you would like to send a love offering to myself, you have my Cash App. Nick, put your Cash App so you can get some coins too. Or y'all can send them and say this is for Nick, and I can send Nick her coins. But bless us tonight because we hope that we were a blessing to you. Like, heart, share, subscribe. The live will be saved and posted, and you can send it out for however long. It's not going anywhere. So, again, Nick, what are your closing words to the people tonight as we conclude this hot topic today? The launching of Hot Topic Wild Out Wednesday.
I would go back to my original word, which was know yourself and be intentional. Sex is not a thing to take lightly. You hold power within yourself. And when you exchange your energy with other people, you open yourself to a world of different possibilities, positive and negative. Learn yourself, explore yourself, especially sexually. Don't be afraid to have the uncomfortable conversations about sex. Don't be afraid, especially too with your children, because somebody else will have that conversation with them. You will know when it's the appropriate time and the appropriate age to have that conversation with your child. But we're living in a society where sex is shown to them at younger and younger ages. So get out of this notion and this mentality that sex is this taboo thing that we have to keep secret. It's a powerful thing. It's an incredible thing. It's one of the sweetest things that God has given us the pleasure of indulging in. But also understand that not all indulgences are meant to be fed constantly. Know thyself, live in intentions, be present, and enjoy yourself because you only live once.
Ashe. Ashe. I love that. Before we conclude, I want to make sure that I've covered all you guys' questions that we're getting ready to wrap up. I will leave a few minutes. If not, you guys know I will move very fast. So if you do have questions that you'd like myself or Neek to answer, please go ahead and write them now. Go ahead and write them now so that we can see them, and we want to make sure that we've addressed your questions, your what it is that you're seeking. We want to make sure that whatever experiences and knowledge that we have, we are able to provide it. If not, I pray that this podcast, this session tonight was beneficial. I was quite excited today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I always spend time. Me and Nick have these type of real talk conversations, and Prince already know. We have our own internal thing, and we get real. You understand, and we want to just share that experience. I think I may need to make Nick my permanent Wild Out Wednesday co-host. What y'all think? Didn't make Nick my permanent Wednesday co-host for Wild Out Wednesday? I think I do. There needs to be a balance of the masculine, the divine masculine, and a divine feminine, because we balance each other out on a daily. So I already know. You understand?
Pisces and Virgo.
Pisces and Virgo. It's a match made in heaven. You cannot go wrong with a Pisces and a Virgo mix. You understand? And then we got our reinforcer, the eyes. You understand? Y'all don't know we got eyes in the background. His name is Prince. I didn't even give him his name. I'm leaving Prince. You understand? Prince is the eyes in the background. You see all your coming. You understand? And so don't reveal yourself, Prince. Don't give up yourself. Those that know, if they know, they know. But those that don't know, leave them wondering. But I thoroughly enjoyed you all's engagement today. It was wonderful. I don't see any questions coming in, but today was wonderful. And I was looking forward to this. And when I tell you, I tried to do the note thing, and I did. Actually, I utilized my notes a little bit, just a little bit, but I flow in the spirit, and Neek flows in the spirit, and we will start to go heights and depths that we didn't know that we could go until it manifests. And so, I'm affirming that it was beneficial. I'm going to affirm that it was beneficial from the feedback that came in tonight, and I know that more is going to come as this is shared, as it is circulating the World Wide Web. as it is circulating social media. Please help me to grow my platform. Please help me to get more content out. And if there's topics that you all are interested in for Wild Out Wednesdays, because we're getting it in on Wednesdays, if there are topics that you are interested in for Wednesdays, please, 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 please inbox me, text me, call me, say, Baba Ra, I want to know about X, Y, by Z. What's your thoughts? And me and Nico, we're gonna dissect that thing and let the Jumbie talk to us, and we're gonna flow. You understand? But I love you all, and I thank you for the love tonight. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your time. Okay, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you, and I leave you all in love, because love is God's first commandment. I leave you all in peace because I wish for you all to have peace in your daily living. I leave you all in joy because every day, even through the trials and the tribulations and the adversities that we face, we must reach and find the joy and the silver lining of it all. You understand? And so I pray that you have a peaceful night. I pray that you play back the video to see what you did not catch in the beginning, because it was all good from start to finish, and share with a friend. Get someone else in on the conversation. Have the conversation with your friends. Have the conversation with your children. Have the conversation with your families. Have the conversation, because this is how we make an impact. This is how we bring change. This is how we bring awareness. This is how we help our community, our Black community, our international community, our diasporic community grow. Because guess what? Our cousins and our brothers and sisters and them on the other side, they have these conversations openly.
Yes, they do.
Totally. At the dinner table. They're still having dinner at the table. We stopped that. They're still having dinner at the table and having sex talk. Who are you dating? Who are you screwing? Are you on birth control? Are you using condoms? Do we need to see the doctor? Have you gotten tested? They're having these conversations.
Yes, they are.
But we're not. You understand? And we have to shift the paradigm, because STDs carnally and STDs spiritually are on a rise, people.
Amen.
People's bodies are not right. We are afraid of going to the doctor. Get checked. That's it. Check yourself. Get mentally observed. Go and see the therapist. Go and talk to a life coach. Book a session with me. I am a life coach, and I am a reader, and I'm a holistic practitioner. Come and see me. Let's get into the core of it. If you need your astrology done, call Neek and let her get you together real fast. You understand? Because we are here with a sole purpose to help our community. You understand? And we want to be Ashe, thank you for the proper wording. We want to advance to a place better than where we are.
Yes.
We want to go to a place that is greater than where we are as a collective. Remember my name, my brand, the El Ra Collective. My ancestors gave me that because we are the collective. It's not about about one religion. It's not about one practice. It's not about one belief. It's not about one set identity. That's why they made me who I am, a bisexual Black man with dreads that happen to be American and West Indian. And I love it. I'm the taboo and the flesh. You understand? I'm a living taboo according to the societal norms. And so with that being said, we have to live with purpose. We have to live with intentions. We have to live with love. We have to live with knowing ourselves. Not allowing anyone to distract us from developing and identifying who we are and accepting who we are boldly, because there's someone that is going to love you authentically for who you are. There's someone that is going to receive you for you authentically being yourself. There are friends, there's lovers, there's mates, there's companions that are going to love you for authentically being you. And so I want you to embrace you every day. Love you the more every day. Understand the more of you every day. Give thanks and show gratitude every day. Move intentionally, in the words of Devante, every day. Every day is at work. And we don't get there overnight, because there's been so many years and generations of imbalance that we have to take up the mantle of generating the balance and clearing the way for our children and our grandchildren and our nieces and our nephews and our great grands that are coming, because we are growing. Every day time waits for nobody. We have to do the work. And so I pray that this video helps you to understand what that works look like for yourself, and tap in and evolve and grow like we all are doing. I love you all. And I'll leave you in oneness. I'll leave you in oneness. Udabo, bon nuit. Have a beautiful night.